Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Yes, another weekly recap. It's already May the 11th, 2025. My God, time passes by so quickly. Well, here in Montreal, it's springtime, but very cool. And I gotta tell you, my golf game is kind of put on hold here because of the weather. Yesterday, Saturday morning, I was supposed to play and too cold, rainy. Same thing with Friday. So, you know what? My other passion, which is fountain pen therapy, takes its place. So that works out really well. Great week. Had a great week. Thank you very much. I hope you had a great week as well. Very productive. Lots of work. But that's okay. But lots of writing. I got to tell you, all the pens I used, currently inked, it got used up this week, I can tell you that. Lots and lots of writing at the office. Very little playtime, I've got to tell you. So those pens really came in handy, but at the office, and we'll take a look at that, of course. I've got some wonderful things for you, new news. I've got all kinds of pens and writing instruments in the pipeline. So without any further ado, let's get at it. Here is Fountain Pen Therapies weekly recap for May the 11th, 2025. Okay, so first segment, what's new in the market? Chinese market. Now, I know tariffs are kicking in, and I've trying to figure it all out, but I can't, because what I see on my computer online in Canada is not what my American friends or my friends from all over the world may see in their online searches. My understanding is that, be it AliExpress or Etsy, some viewers have seen a dramatic increase in price. Some viewers have seen not available. Some viewers have seen the same price, but with a ridiculous bump up for delivery, in particular in Etsy. So that's the way it looks like, the variety of comments that I've received. So tariffs are definitely affecting. There was one viewer in Germany said, well, I'm sorry, but my pen is cheaper now. So having said all of that, I think it was all in jest. But having said all of that, it's difficult to tell. And you know, things change almost on a daily basis, so we don't know where we're going. But friends, I still think that you should not ignore the Chinese pen market, even with a bump up in delivery charges, or even a bump up in the price. They're still worth every single penny. When I say, some of the Chinese pens are. So I wouldn't give up on them right now. They're still, in terms of quality and price, still worthwhile. And I'm just hoping that we'll quickly find a resolution to all this and come back to some normal normal times. But having said that, let's take a look at the Chinese pen market. And I've gone absolutely crazy. So take a look. Okay, here's my order list. First of all, very nice. Look what's come out. Shanghai Knife Dude. He's great because he always lets us know when there's something new. And I saw his video. He reviewed the nib on this thing. Then he reviewed just generally the pen, but then he detailed review. And I thought, it's available in China, but not available here. But no, it's available, at least in Canada it is. And I saw it on AliExpress and I jumped on it. So what is it? It's this Wing Sung. Look it up under Yunlai. If you look up Winsung 930, you may not find it, but Yunlai, you'll find it for sure. It's this white version with some engraving on it. It came out the same day. It's got some papal overtones, but here it is. Here it is, folks. The pen that I ordered. Ordered it in the broad again. So there you have it. So that's the first one. What else have I got here? I finally ordered this Mahjong. I guess it's a pocket pen, aluminum alloy. I think I wanted to compare it to some other pocket pens, and I don't have enough of them. So I've ordered that one as well. What else? I found this notebook really intriguing for $17. Let me just click on it. Why is it frozen? So this is the notebook. I found it intriguing. For $17, I just love notebooks, so I've ordered that one as well. And why does it? Okay, here we go. What else have I ordered? I also found this titanium pen by Kako Sky. I don't believe I've ever ordered any pens from Kako. This will be my first one, but I thought I'd compare that with the Ongdian. So I've ordered that one as well. I finally took the dive and ordered this Mont Blanc inspired 10-karat gold nib from Hero, just because I don't have any Hero pens, or I may have one. So I've ordered that as well. And what else? I cheated and I ordered this rollerball just because I liked, but I realized it's a Mont Blanc kind of a knockoff. But I figured if I could use it with my rollerball, I'd be ahead of the game, and I like the design of that pen. Again, it's nice to see what it looks like if you're going to order the real thing. What else? And I finally ordered the B25. I was inspired by one of the videos, and I said, you know what, I got to take a look at this little pen. So I've ordered a B25. The other pens you've seen already. So that's for the Chinese pen market. On the other fronts, I do want to show you, this is Giardino Italiano. This is one of my favorite sites. Always visit this site, folks, because there could be all kinds of surprises. I noticed that the Delta Gallery is available or will be available soon. I also noticed that the Delta Reservoir is available now. I'm waiting for Nino to send me my copy of that. So that's for Giardino Italiano. This is Stilo e Stile. Again, I remind you, we've got all these beautiful inks from Leonardo Officina Italiana. I might order the whole set. Trying to find where, I think they're the cheapest here, 1352 euros. That's roughly $20 Canadian. I like the bottles. Then what else have I got? Casa Stilografica. I wanted to show you something. Take a look at this Visconti pen. Now, what's the difference between that one and some of the Asvines. This is going for $573. Yes, it's got that. Does it have a gold nib? Yeah, it's got a 23 karat palladium. But that's the difference. But the rest, folks, look at that. It doesn't even look like it's properly finished. When I take a look at this picture, anyway. Asvines, Jinhouse, have got some very similar looking pens. So who's copying who, right? I'm curious about this Cross Bailey. I don't have any Cross fountain pens. That may be something I might look into for $31. That seems to be a good price. What else have I got? Oh, hold on. Casa Stilografica. Did it have... No, that's about it. Oh, yes, here it is. Talking about roller balls, look at this new, or this is the ballpoint, but they have roller balls as well. The Licturm 1917, which makes notebooks. I find that's a nice slick pen. It looks like a little bit like a pencil, so I might order that. Goulet pens. Wanted to mention this new company by the name of Colotino. Everybody's kind of weighing in on this. It's a funny looking pocket pen, but maybe interesting. But again, look at this, $150 for aluminum alloyed pocket pen. I'm sure you can find just as good on the Chinese market. And you know what? Even with the price increases, it's got a Schmidt nib, but nothing exciting. Okay, and I wanted to show you that. And then, of course, I have Goldspot. This Dominant Industry Takasago notebook is intriguing me. I may order one just to keep track of paper, if you will. But that's, in terms of paper, what I suggest. So there you have it in terms of the market and some interesting tidbits for you. Surf, pull the plug when you can, and just enjoy it when you can. So there you have it. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, so for this next segment, what's new in the Fountain Pen Therapy Studios? We'll take a look at some paper, some ink, and some writing instruments. Notice I use the word writing instruments. Stay tuned. Go to my overhead camera and we'll take a look at the paper. We'll start with the paper right away. Okay, what do you see in front of you here is two very nice covers. These are covers that are sold by a company by the name of Rotterfaden. And in those notebooks, or in those covers, I decided to take a look at APICA, this premium CD notebook made in Japan. It's a 8mm rule. This is an A4 sized. I had put this paper way up on my list, way at the beginning of my fountain pen journey. And it kind of faded, so you can see that most of the notebook has already been written into, and it just kind of took a back seat. I find the paper very interesting. I also have the same Rotterfaden cover on this A-sized. So this is the same CD notebook, just a different A6 size, I should say. Again, it's a ruled, very nice paper. Now, let's take a look at the paper itself. The paper, first of all, the way this works is you can put in various notebooks. So if I show you here, you put your notebook, you flip it in, and that kind of keeps it all together. The same thing applies to this cover as well. As you can see, there is an insert here. So usually you'd like to get it in the middle so that it stays nice and tight, and it keeps it nice and cozy, very nice, very good, a little expensive, but high quality. The paper itself, I got to tell you, is very, very smooth. It's very thick and coated. And that's one of the reasons why it never really took off with me. But I think it was more a function of the pens and the inks that you use on this paper, and some of them don't work as well as others. But you know what? After a long, long time, I've decided to come back to APICA and to put it in the swatching therapy for this week. You'll get to see it as well. We're going to do some writing on it, and we'll see. Maybe my misconceptions that date have changed since. So there you have it. That's the paper that we're going to be dealing with. So give me a few minutes. We're going to set up my swatching studio, as they say, and we'll do some swatching with those brand new inks that I purchased for this week. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. The first thing we'll take a look at is the ink that I have to propose for you for this week. These are 3 inks that I purchased this week. They're in the Baroque, made in Germany by Octopus. Chose these 3 colors because these were the only 3 that were available at the local stationery store downtown Montreal near my office. And I had to pick up some stuff, and at the same time I saw these inks, and they've always kind of intrigued me. So you know what? They were kind of darkish colors, but those were the only 3 available, and it does kind of fit the colors that I like to use at the office scene, if you will. This is called Caviar, which appears to be a purplish color, but we shall see how that works out. Then I have this blue, which is marine, which looks like a black blue, and this anthracite, which I'm not quite sure what it is. It looks like a silver black or kind of a grayish black, but we'll see how these inks swatch up and how they write. The instruments I will use, as usual, it's my folded pen for the swatching, and this week we're going to use this Kakamori nib. Kind of show you the difference between this and maybe other nibs and how practical these things can be, especially for swatching inks and keeping track of them. So we'll put those aside, put the inks aside, and we'll get on with the show. So let's start with this Caviar to begin with. Let's see what opening it up gives. Interesting. Yeah, kind of a purplish brown color. So put that there. And we will swatch. This is Tomo River. As you know, that I always use, I like to use Tomo River as my baseline, if you will. Here we go. And we will swatch. Yeah, you can see how slippery this paper is. It's, the ink kind of just sits there. Okay, so that's the swatch. Okay, so this is Baroque. And the first one is Caviar. And you can see how much ink this nib can hold in just one dip. Kind of a little bit of advantage over other nibs, I would say to you. So that's Baroque and that's Caviar. And that's me. There we go. So, yeah, it's coming down like a brown, actually. But let's let it dry up, and we shall see what the end result is. Next, this blue marine. Yeah, it's kind of a dark blue, royal blue, black blue. So we'll see how it translates on paper. Whoop. Wow, very slippery on this coated paper, I can tell you that. Okay, let's get my nib in here. So this is and it's the marine. We have very dark blue so far. This one is a little bit, I would say a little wetter. Flows much nicer than this purplish brown. Found that one very, very on the dry side, I would say. And of course, I'm going to ink some pens with these inks so that you can actually get a feel of what the inks look like or perform with actual fountain pens. A little bit of feathering there. But I'm putting, with this Kakamori nib, there's quite a bit of ink going on the paper, which is not a perfect representation of what a pen would do, which of course has got a much thinner line. Okay, so this, what looked like black, kind of got some reddish tint in there. So I'm curious to see how this one swatches. Yeah, I can see the red tint in the bottle. So far, pretty black. We shall see. Get the nib in there. Okay, so this is Baroque. Whoa. And I can never anthraze it. I gotta tell you, there's nothing like swatching inks on a beautiful, rainy Saturday morning, because that's when I'm doing this actually, and where I could not be on the golf course because of the rain and the cold. Just a little bit too cold to enjoy a nice golf game. But, I've got my cappuccino. The house is quiet. And fountain pen therapy is at work, folks. At its best. At its best. Okay, so those are the inks. I must admit they're pretty dark. Kind of reflects the weather out there, but I should have maybe chosen some spring colors, and maybe that's what we'll do in the future. For the months of May and June, kind of get some brighter colors in there. But, these are kind of typical colors that are conservative and that could be useful at the office scene, if you will. So far, they look pretty dark. They've got some shading and some interesting sheening, but why don't we let all this dry up and we will sip our cappuccino and be right back. Okay, we're back. My cappuccino. Taking a long time for these inks to dry on my Tomo River paper anyway. as you can see, but this is as long as I want to take. Apologize for that, but it's just taking a little too long. First of all, what do we see here? On my Tomo River, you can see that the caviar at the top is kind of a reddish gray, some brown tints, got some nice, interesting shading, a little bit of sheen, but not much. It did write a little dry, although it's not drawing on this paper. The marine is a dark blue, not quite blue-black, but getting there. It's got some interesting red sheen on this Tomo River. Same thing goes with this anthracite. I don't know what to make of it. It's kind of a blackish brown, or maybe more on the gray black with those red, with the red kind of tint there. So it's got some interesting sheen, and a little bit different from the top, which has got more of a rose, dark rose gray color. So that's the Tomo River. Let's take a look at how this APICA, I suspect that it will not, just to show you the backside. So, the typical Tomo River results. Let's take a look at what results we get on this APICA. Of course, it's not as expressive, that's for sure. You don't see much of the sheen at all. It comes out pretty flat on this paper. On the back side, you will see that there is quite a bit of penetration there, but that's to be expected. This Kakamori nib doesn't accurately reflect how a fountain pen would write, and we'll take a look at that in a second. So maybe that, the pen test is a better test for this paper. But as you can see, there's also a little bit of feathering that I noticed. But again, it may be a function of that Kakamori nib. Let's do some writing, will you? Join me here. Let me just try to get this a little bit more zoomed in. Okay. So, first one is the caviar. So the caviar I put in this Rosetta Magellan. So, and it is it's got some of the brown grayish shades. So we'll see how this writes. So this is the Rosetta Magellan. I think this is as a Bach stub, probably a 1.1. Yeah, the ink is very dry, I would say to you. Because I can feel the nib on the paper quite a bit. So that's the Rosetta Magellan with this caviar. What else we got here? The blue marine I've put into this K-glue, is it 321? I forget the number. I apologize for that. But these K-glue nibs usually are very, very expressive. So let's see. Yeah. Wow. I recommend these nibs, folks. I mean, this is a... Does it say? I would say it's a medium. And very, very wet and smooth. Yeah, this ink is a little more... I mean, the flow is so much nicer. It could also be a function of the nib, but I would venture to say that this ink is a little bit wetter than that caviar. And for the anthracite, which is that black. I chose this K-glue. Another K-glue nib. Another medium nib. Yeah, once again, I would say that this ink is even wetter than the blue marine for some reason. But again, that could be a function of the nib. But as you could see, those K-glue nibs are just fabulous. Now, do I see, with that marine on this paper, I see a little bit of feathering. Let me just move my microphone. Do you see that? Just a little bit of feathering with the marine. But just slight. Not overly concerned. How does it look on the other side? As you could see, when you take a pen, the results are very different and very comparable to the Tomoe River. So it is a fountain pen friendly notebook, no doubt. And for those of you who like the smooth kind of coated paper, a little similar to Clairefontaine, and Rhodia's got that as well. But this is very smooth. This is more along the lines of Nimcene Maruman. Very, 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 very coated. So there you have the paper and the swatching and the 3 pens that I chose for this exercise. We'll be right back. Oh, I did want to show you how that ink performs on this other sized APICA. The paper is very similar, I would say to you. So let's do some writing. So this is the APICA notebook. Which is A6 size, and this is the Baroque Marine. Okay, that's the Baroque Marine. This is the, yeah, right away you can tell the ink is drier. Baroque Caviar. On the other hand, the advantage of having a drier ink is that it dries up quicker. And this is it's Baroque, not Baroque. Anthracite. So there you have it. And works out really nice. So another very nice notebook, I could tell you. Beautiful little leather cover. Recommended if you guys are interested. And you can combine this with a kind of, do I have one here? 1 second. Yeah, I usually, in fact, I'm going to put it right back. I usually accompany this. There is a little bit of a pen holder there, but it's a very slim. So I went out and got this, and this is usually what accompanies this notebook. So there you have it, or this cover. Very nice, sturdy, well done, and it's gotten that used look, which makes it all that much nicer. I regret putting some ink there, but that's part of the course, sort of seeing. Okay, so I thought I'd show you the small one, how the A6 works as well. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. What's new in the fountain pen studios? Okay, here's what, well, first of all, I received a bunch of stuff, but I as I mentioned to you in earlier videos, I got to pace myself here, because if I show you everything I order every week, then I may run out. So, especially in the slower weeks. Yes, this is our famous, huge, fun, but not sure. The verdict's still out on the usefulness of these huge pens. Not the usefulness, but whether they're really usable in terms of go-to pens because of their size. But having said that, you'll recall that some people were complaining about leakage in around the nib. So I wrote to 365. I'd heard that they had come out with new feeds that correct the issue. Now this is one of the older, not feeds, but sections. This is one of the older nib sections, which first thing you got to have these two O-rings. There's one right there, which is very, very small, and another one right underneath. Some people used plumbing tape around the section to kind of seal it a little better. Others put some, silicone gel or grease. So those are some of the suggestions. Some may have replaced those O-rings with a little bit thicker O-rings. But Wing Sung came out with a solution, and I ordered brand new nib sections, 3 of them, for the 3 different nib sizes I have. And this is what I received. I don't know if you could see this, but there's kind of a coating that they added, which is kind of shiny. You see that? It's difficult to capture, but as compared to the original, which is kind of really matte, you can tell it's just a matte color there. I got a feeling here what they did is they just applied another layer of material that hardened and just made that section a little more seal-proof, if you will, I guess. Now, I have not been able to try it at all because, to my great chagrin, I just cannot get this nib out of this section. I've tried, and I just can't. Now, what I plan to do is just leave it under water and maybe see if it works, because if I can't get the nibs out of that section, then I won't be able to put them into this new section. So there you have it. Now, at one point I thought that those notches, that maybe I could use my wrench. This is the wrench that goes with this big pen, and kind of twist it. But I realized, no, that this is really to twist the whole section out of the pen. It doesn't twist, I don't think, you can't get you cannot get the nib and feed out of there with that. So silly of me to even think that it would work. And again, I just can't. So I'm going to have to soak it and see what happens. Otherwise, I may still have a problem there. Now, in terms of writing, I do not have a, let me just open up this notebook. Again, this is the APICA. We'll put some use to it. I've not had an issue with any, let me just see if this writes. So this is the Wing Sung. $9.30. And this is the black and gold, of course, because that compares to the new one I've ordered, which is that white and flat top version, the new one, but writes beautifully. The other thing is that, so no leakage there, and no leakage on this. This originally leaked. This is the one that was giving me more issues. I've got the fine nib on this one. So, and this is the black and silver. Very nice. They're gorgeous pens. The other thing is that I've been trying to look for is kind of pen cases that can accommodate these huge pens. because I wanted to bring these to the office, but they just don't fit in any of my pen cases. Now, oh, there may be one pen case. I'm improvising here, folks. There is this one, and maybe this one can accommodate the big one. Yeah, it does. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can only put 8 in there, but having said that, at least I can use this to bring it into the office. Never used this. I just not my favorite sort of pen case, but it does work. Ha, folks, I found a solution. I just thought about it, so maybe that's the solution to bring in, and maybe we'll do a week will have all of the big pens. Most of them are the Ranga, the Mammoth 9. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe next week we'll do that. Make sure I write this down. Okay, there you have it. So that's the first thing that the studios received. What else did we get? Let me just put aside this notebook. Okay, let's open up this box. I think you guys can recognize this, those of you who are Angdian fans. Yeah, it is an Angdian pen, but which one? Well, stay tuned. It's the typical tin box. There's the pen, and you might say, well, wait a minute, this is kind of something we've seen already. I do have, it's the, and I never remember, the Light of Hope pen. I have it in this green, small number 5 size nib that writes just beautifully. We'll take a look at that in a second. So why order this one? Yeah, it's blue. Beautiful pen. I mean, take a look at this, folks. I'll put the price up on the screen, but to your great surprise, there you have it. It's a rollerball. So as you remember, a little bit of heresy here, but it is a writing instrument. And as some of you pointed out last week, there's nothing wrong with using a rollerball at times. It doesn't give me the same therapy. Actually, a rollerball doesn't give me any therapy at all, but it can be very, very useful, especially in the office scene where you need to take some quick notes. You don't want to, put ink on paper and then distribute it to your colleagues and they got ink all over themselves because the ink doesn't dry up as quickly, etc. So I do use rollerballs. So, and to my great surprise, there it was. This rollerball actually uses absolutely fabulous refills, which are these Schmidt refills. This is a fine, the 888 model. And I noticed what they did is they put this spring at the end, I guess, to accommodate the size. I don't believe that's kind of a hack, if you will. I wasn't expecting that, but let's see how this pen writes. Oh, by the way, along with those, I did buy on Amazon, and I bought that on Amazon as well, so I'll put it in my storefront. I bought some medium nibs just to see how things work out, and you can see it's got a little cap there, so that spring is a way to accommodate, I guess. But we'll try it out. Let's try out the fine first. So I will use, instead of the big notebook, we'll use the little guy. Here he is. Okay. Wasn't I somewhere else? Here I was. Okay, so let's take a look. First of all, let's take a look at the original, which has the fountain pen. Oh, apologize. I haven't used this in a while. I mean, this, yeah, let me prime it because I do want to show you how good that nib is. And I just primed it a little bit by pushing on the converter. Very nice. It's a number 5. Steel nib, obviously. Very nice. But let's see how this... well, you know what? Let me just turn the page here because it's not flat. That's better. So this is the rollerball. Very nice. And this is a fine. And it's writing almost like a medium. So, you know what? For excellent price, you get a very nice Andean rollerball. You know, and compared to you know, Monteverde selling some of these roller balls with kind of metal material, you know, going for $100 Canadian. It just, you know, what's wrong with this one? Just works beautifully in my view. So there you have it. And later on, I'll check out whether or not I'm hoping that these Schmidt nibs can be can serve a purpose in that pen. But there you have it. So that's the first thing that I purchased. Let me put that aside. What else have I got for you? Yes, a Mahjong box. Now, what's in this Mahjong box? Well, let's open it up. It's the X1, folks. This is kind of instructions showing you how to, because it is a little finicky. It took me a little while to understand and getting it to work, but now I understand it fully. The instructions are actually very good if you follow them, Vince. So there it is. First thing I noticed is how small this pen is. I hadn't realized how petite this pen is. I knew it was a pocket pen of sorts, but I never realized how small it would be. I'm assuming that the size is very similar to the original Bohème, but there you have it. Now, we will be doing a detailed review of this, so I won't reveal too much, but beautiful pen, so stay tuned. I might publish a video this week, and they sent also 6 cartridges because this is as you may know, the cartridge goes in there. The pen opens up. It posts by screwing mechanism, and when you do, the nib sticks out. And the nib is that beautiful Moonman or Mahjong, the new Mahjong nibs. It's a fine. We'll see how it writes. Some people really complained about how this pen writes. The verdict's still out for me. We will do the review, and I invite you to take a look at it, and we'll compare. Now, I must say, I mentioned it last week that I received an email from one of my viewers who had offered to send me the real thing, the real Bohemian or Bohemia or Bohemian Mont Blanc. Actually, she had 2, and she had an interesting gold one. I say she, could have been a he. And I would love to receive it. So if that viewer is watching, please reach out again. Let me know if we can do that, if it's still on. And I'll send you my address, and you can send me the pen. I'll pay for the postage, as you suggested, so that we can do a comparison for everybody to appreciate. Okay? So that's what's in the Fountain Pen Studios for this week, folks. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, currently inked. Here's for those of you who don't know, this is my pen case. I've got 2 of them like this, which, by the way, you can find on my Amazon storefront. Very well priced on Amazon. You can find the same product elsewhere for almost double the price, so recommend it. Check it out in my accessories section in the storefront. And I always like to bring with me 12 pens. Why 12? Well, because this accommodates 12, and I like the variety. I don't always use all of them, needless to say. But this week I had quite a bit of writing to do, and I called it the Classic Week because most of these pens got that classic Mont Blanc look, with the exception of these 2, and we'll get to that in a second. and this one as well, actually. But let's take a look at what intrigued me this week. Well, first thing is that I always like to use a ballpoint, and this is the Mont Blanc. On this pen, on this paper, it's the 146 size ballpoint. Very nice. Then I have my Mont Blanc pencil with a thick 0.9 lead. Just because if I use anything smaller than that, I will snap. I press on too hard, I will snap the lead. Then I have my Mont Blanc, and this is empty, so I won't even write with it. You can tell. You see, I've used it quite a bit, but this is my Mont Blanc 149. And then I had my 3 sailor pens. Here they are, and this gives me kind of the occasion to answer one of the questions from one of my viewers when I mentioned these 3 pens in one of my recaps. He said, why would you spend so much money on this is the King of Pen, when you have this, the same 21 karat nib on this Pro Gear? This is the regular Pro Gear and the 1911. Well, folks, here's why. Let's take a closer look at these pens. First of all, this is my 1911. So this is a Sailor 1911 large with a 21 karat nib. And I was wondering whether or not I did have the large, but everybody's kind of confirmed. If you have the 21 karat, it's the large. So it is the large, although the pen is very, very small. Writes very nice, smooth, just a little hint of feedback, but just because that's a kind of a medium nib. Then I have my Pro Gear. So this is the Sailor. Can you hear it? Just a beautiful noise. It's got to be, I think it's the best feedback. I don't know how to explain it. It's chalky, it's pencil, and it's smooth. So it's smooth feedback that makes noise. It doesn't, it's not scratchy. Okay, so those are the 2 little guys. So now we got the big brother here. And, is it worth spending 4 times the price as that viewer mentioned? Well, here it is. I'm saying number 8. I'm assuming this is a number 8 and not a number 9. Just incredible. It's got that interesting feedback, which is somewhere in between these 2 in terms of, how intense that feedback is. But the beauty of this one, and maybe we could see it if we just, is the spring. You see the spring in that nib? So when I write a little smaller with it, actually get some line variation. It is such a joy to write with this pen. I got to tell you, no regrets whatsoever. Now, some of you may ask, so what's your bottom line? Is it worth it or not? I would say to you that if you can afford all three, go for it. That's the obvious. I think all three should form part of a collection if you can afford it. If you don't want to spend the money that this thing goes for, I would certainly buy it on the used pen market first. But these two have nothing to suggest that they are not worth the price, or that you couldn't be satisfied. You couldn't get that sailor feel with these two. You do get the sailor feel. Except if you want the sailor feel, a writing experience with a little bit of bounce, then the KOP is the way to go. So is it worth it? Yes, it is. Are you going to be missing out in a tremendous fashion if you just get these two or any one of these two? I don't think so. But it's all a question of, whether or not it fits the budget and whether or not you really want to have that writing experience. I think the writing experience is unique. So the next thing is that I had I had the 159s, the Jinhao, because somebody asked me whether or not the Jinhao, this is and I keep mixing up, I think the 159 is the old metal version, whether or not I had dry nib issues. Absolutely not. Now this does have a number 6 steel, very stiff Jinhao nib, but that writes fairly smooth. Okay. But the other ones, here we go, that I had in my Currently ink is this Jinhao. I think I'm right when I say it's the X159, and this is the new acrylic, or I'll call it resin, precious resin, as they say, new resin version. And that, of course, has the number 8 steel, bouncy Jinhao nib. Now, when I say bouncy, bouncy compared to the stiff, it's not overly bouncy, but it does have a very interesting feel when you write with this pen. And of course, I had my red, because I always have a red inked pen, and it's the same Jinhao. No, this is the Wingsung 630 that I brought to the office. There you have it. Does it right? Because I wrote quite a bit with it. You can see that it's empty. Yeah, it's got no more. Wrote quite a bit. But that's the red. Now, what else did I bring with me? Well, I brought with me the pen that I reviewed this week, which, folks, is worth every single penny. I mean, this is a titanium nib. To answer questions, one of my viewers, is it smaller, the same size? It's in the review, but maybe it wasn't clear. It is kind of the same design, but it's slightly shorter than the 1866 with the wooden barrel. It is also, compared to the Black Forest, also just slightly smaller than the Black Forest. The other one that I think is similar is the 8041, which again, a little bit smaller. But this pen is the best of all the 1800 series. And this nib, listen to it sing. on this paper. But this nib just writes so beautifully. I got to tell you, it's quickly become one of my favorite pens, and I can't resist. It's going to go into my next week's weapons. As compared to the other, this had a lemon nib, and it's just not working out for me, this one here. For some reason, I don't know is there ink? Oh, okay, well, it's running out of ink, so that explains why I'm not getting the same. This has got the lemon nib. Yeah, there's no more ink in here. But even so, that lemon nib is not as nice as the lemon nib that I have on one of my Mahjons, the Mahjon titanium pen. This is the other Hongdian Black Forest. Very nice. The nib is a little stiffer on this, and it could be because of that, because it's black. You know, it's got a kind of black coating. I'm not sure, but not as fun as the titanium. But there you have it. So we did bring in that T1. What else did I have? Well, I tried out this Tom Studios. I'm not sure it's a roller ball because it's got different tips. But first of all, this one is the 1.0 tip because they have several tips it comes with. No, is this the... No, this is the much thicker tip. So this is Tom Studios. Yeah, very nice. Got to tell you, figured out how it actually works. This is what the Lumos Pro, I think they call it. Very nice. And the advantage of this one is that you could use different inks because you can ink them up. Now, how does this work? I can never figure it out. Yeah, put it back here, and the second nib is here. This is the 1.0, I think. Very nice. And when you run out of ink, you kind of dip in. It's got a kind of a funny feed that you dip into ink and it just sucks up all the ink. I'm sure you've seen the videos if you're interested. Lots of videos reviewing this pen. But yeah, it's a very nice added, a very nice addition to my collection. So when I need kind of rollerball style pens, that's certainly going to be in the picture. Now, this is 2 weeks in a row and probably 3 weeks in a row. This Zento signature, and I'm going to get the black version. It's just a really nice pen. So this is the Zento signature. It's Uniball. And I replaced the cartridge, or the refill is a broad, because the Zento signature only comes with 0.38 or 0.5, and I found them a little too thin, so I replaced it with kind of a gel rollerball refill, which is it is still Uniball. Here it is. I've run out. This is the it's got all kinds of numbers. The UMR 80. That's the unfortunate. I was always wondering if I could refill these things, but I don't think so, because it's got this little, I don't know what it is, but as the ink goes down, this goes down with it. I think it's kind of a blocked gel or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't think we can. But anyway, maybe some of you can let me know. Can I refill that? I don't think so. It would be, I don't think they would make it that it's refillable because they want you to spend money to, to get more. But let me tell you, the writing experience perhaps does not give me fountain pen therapy, but it's certainly very efficient. Smooth, especially on this smooth paper. Wow. And as you can tell, on the other side, you can't see anything. So it's working out really well. It's probably going to find its way into the currently inked for this week. So that's it for the currently inked pens for this week, folks. Give me a second and we'll put together what I planned for next week. Be right back. Okay, so what have I got planned for this week? I'm expecting to be around a conference table quite a bit this week. So I'm going to impress people with these with these three. So I've got my ballpoint Mont Blanc, I've got my pencil, and I just newly inked, not newly inked, but freshly inked Mont Blanc 149. I've put in, and one of the viewers mentioned that I should keep track of the inks I've got in these pens, which is a good thing. So this is the Mont Blanc 149, and it's got the Baroque Marine. Wow, very nice. As much as I hate to admit it, it is a beautiful pen. Yeah, 149. So the 149 is there. I'm going to add this rollerball to the set. By the way, I did replace the, I mentioned earlier, there was a fine in there. I replaced it with one of the new refills I purchased, and it works really well, this little spring. I think it's a hack, but it may not be. Maybe just a way to accommodate different sizes for different pens. And it does work out really well. I haven't tried it, so let's see how the medium works. So this is the Hongdian. Oh yeah. And I prefer blue. And again, I just keep forgetting. I don't know what it is about this name. The Light of Hope. I guess no therapy, because it just, you don't feel it, but a real go-to pen. That's kind of describes all of my roller balls. So that's going to be my roller ball for this week. As I mentioned earlier, I will include just my favorite roller ball these days, which is this Zento or Uniball Zento Signature. And folks, wait for this pen. It's normally priced like $25, $30 Canadian. I bought it at much more than that on eBay, where they're ripping everybody off because these things are sold out. But I would not spend, the extra premium. Just wait. I'm sure it'll come out. And when it does, I'm going to get the black version of this as well. So those are the two roller balls that will keep me busy. I will include a bunch of slim pens. This, as I mentioned, I'm going to have to ink this, though, properly. This is the Hongdian The Light of Hope. This number 5 steel nib is among the finest. Number 5, or, you know, regular, constant, smooth, wet number 5 size nib. So that will go in there. I did show you the 3 1800 series. Well, actually, this is an 8041, but it's quite similar. So all 3 are going to go in as well. Actually, you know what? We're going to exclude the black one. Otherwise, I won't have enough space. I will definitely reuse my favorite pen these days, which is the Dieman. Listen to it sing again. I'll put the microphone lower. Enjoy that, especially on this paper. So that's that. And then, of course, I'm going to include the 3 pens that I've just inked with those 3 inks for the week, which are, so this, it'll also keep track. This is the Kegaloo. I don't know if it's the 321. Don't quote me on that. This is with the Baroque Marine. So that's going to go in. This is the Rosetta Magellan with the Baroque Caviar. And this is the Kegaloo and again the numbers, is it 356? I forget, with Baroque. Anthracite. So there you have it. That's going to be my pens, or my weapons, for the upcoming week. Here you go, folks. There they are. Stay tuned for my next segment. Oh, just a kind of a off the track a little bit in terms of what we have in Fountain Pen Therapy Studios. I wanted to show you a couple of accessories that may be useful, or just some ideas of how to keep things tidy and stored properly. So let's go to my overhead camera and I'll show you what my solution is, particular for feeds, for converters, and for nibs. So here we go. Here it is. First box I'd like to show you is this box. Bought this at a art store. It's got these, actually you can probably buy them at a fishing gear store as well. But as you can see, I've got all my nibs here. These are my stub nibs. Then I've got all my Chinese nibs, loose or with feeds. I've got a bunch of other, and I try to keep them, you know, the number 5s are on top, the number 8s are there. This is kind of, you know, variety here. But as you can see, I've got quite a bit of nibs there. Keep me busy for a while. And I've got more that have been washed and drying up. So that's where I keep the nibs. I did have at one point in time kind of a description with little labels, but I found that a little bit impractical. So I kind of know where things are. So that's where my nibs are. My feeds, I've got not my feeds. I've got a bunch of converters, loose converters here. I use these kind of Mahjong pen boxes. Very convenient to put in a bunch of loose converters that I've collected over years. This is kind of an old Ranga pen box that I received, and I use that to keep a bunch of feeds that I have, different feeds with different sections. that I've collected over the years and that are kind of spare. So, yeah, that's just another useful hint for you guys. Ideas. Do you have any other ideas that are better? I got to replace this one because I'm kind of running out of space, and I got to replace this one soon as well, running out of space. But there you have it. Some accessories and some ideas for you. Okay, so we're back. Now, for YouTube reviews, that's the next segment. A couple of things. Please keep writing to me about how tariffs are affecting your region or your area or your country. And even in the U.S., from what I understand, there's some variant conclusions there. So please keep writing and let me know so I can keep everyone informed. They're there for a while. Hopefully, this whole tariff mess will get sorted out. I did want to mention that Asvine C2000 looks like they're going to do a rerun. I wrote to Asvine and they answered back saying that that pen should come back, and obviously probably will come back with the gasket that solves the dry nib issue. In terms of other videos that I'd like to suggest to you, well, first of all, got my friend Shanghai Knife Dude. I think he's great. He's got some unique ideas, a unique style, and I always enjoy all his videos. Keep going, my friend. Keep going. Keep us informed about those Chinese pens. But he also gets involved in these macro shots of nibs, and he analyzes it very closely and has some very unique point of view. So excellent. And, it's good to have friends like that keep us informed, as they say. And he's the one who led me to order right away my Wing Sung Yonglai 930 in that white ivory finish. So there you have it. My Canadian friend Doodlebud has got a great video on a comparison between the Mahjong B25 and the Parker B25. And in fact, it was that review or that video that inspired me to get my own Mahjong B25, and I'm going to look for the original Parker and maybe do my own comparison. There you have it. Then another Canadian, Inquiring Minds, actually compared Waterman inks to Ongdian inks with regard to how safe they are for vintage pens. It's always a good analysis. You know that Inquiring Minds has got that technical expertise, especially when it comes to vintage pens, where he does a lot of the resurrections, etc., etc. So another interesting video for your pleasure. As far as my videos, well, you have the Ongdian T1. Please take a look at that video. It's a pen that I'm really enjoying, so you get my detailed review there. There's also my last week's recap, which I point out, as I do every week, that my recaps are not only about the current week, but it has all kinds of interesting information on paper, on inks, different pens, and in addition to hopefully entertaining you for long videos, gives you some fountain pen therapy, and at the same time informs you. We're going to keep going, folks. That recap is doing well, the concept is doing well, and hopefully it'll get even better. Please spread the news if you can. Spread the news if you can. Now, in terms of my next weeks or the coming weeks, I did want to publish the Mahjong pen collection video, but I've got a bunch of Mahjong pens coming. As you noticed, I ordered the X1 that I got a review, and I've got a couple in the pipeline, so I think I'm going to wait for those to come in so I can add them to that video and then maybe publish the Mahjong collection review. I will be doing the Mahjong X1, and that may very well find itself on this week's review roll, if you will. If not, I've got the Cypress G10 that's waiting to be published. I've got the Ranga 4NC that has been prepared and ready to go for some time. I may pull the trigger there. Or, you know what? I've got the Ongdian nibs video that's also on the shelf that may find its way on my channel this week. Maybe two. We shall see. And I've got a bunch of Italian pens that I haven't even published yet. So there you have it, folks. That's for YouTube reviews for this week. Stay tuned. So there you have it, folks. That's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe. There it is. Ring the bell. Let me know that you enjoyed this. I always enjoy all of your comments. I'm trying to respond to them as quickly as possible when I can. So bear with me if you don't receive my reply. You probably will receive it sometime soon. Yeah, please. I need the subscriptions. I need the encouragement to keep this recap going. And I cherish the moments. I enjoy doing it, and I just want to keep at it. So please subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a great week, Montrealers. I hope that weather will turn, and I understand that next week we're going to get some scorching days, and then we'll complain that it's too hot. So there you have it. Ciao. Be good.